Welcome to another episode of the Late Coffee Show. I'm recording this on the first day that is supposed to happen, the Portland SCA Expo. And we all know, unfortunately, it's not happening due to this pandemic of coronavirus. But there's something really fun that you can do next week. SCA put together a bunch of lectures and online classes that you can take during this outbreak, and it was going to start on the 30th of April. So go to sca.coffee, find everything that they're going to have over there, choose one, and you can subscribe for free, no cost. So it's one thing that you can do while we're all in quarantine. Stay at home and watch all these amazing lectures that we're going to have during next week. And I think we should all can benefit from this. There's a lot of people doing lives that you can check it out, and we can maybe spend this time studying a little bit more for and coming up with ideas and solutions for the next steps that we're gonna do. And no furthermore, let's go to my next guest. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please share, subscribe, and watch this. Well, my guest today is the 2018 fifth place in the World Barista Championship, 2019 third place in the World Barista Championship, multiple times, just two, Canadian Barista Champion, the hottest head hair in the industry, my friend, straight from Canada, Cole.
Wow, thanks, Danilo. What an honor to be here.
Yeah, I know. It was really hard to put you on the schedule, but since you asked so much, here you are now, and finally gonna have time to talk to you.
Yeah, I used to have people that you would book me through, but with the current times, I had to let them all go. You can book straight through me, and I'm desperate for work.
Yeah, no, I needed to set aside the other Canadian that I wanted to interview, the Ryan Reynolds, and now it's only you. Sorry. Yeah, so to start things a little bit slow, but not a lot of people understand the Canadian market about specialty coffee. Like I was there like a month ago, and even I couldn't grasp how big or how small is the market. A lot of people here in Brazil, for example, think that is a huge market, like full of specialty coffee shops and roasteries. Can you tell a little bit about how is the Canadian market for specialty coffee?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think it's a small market, but it's also not a huge market. I think we're well developed, and we're just kind of uh, we're we're strong in numbers. Let's say everybody who is playing into the specialty coffee world, I think, is doing a really nice job, and we have a really strong knit community, and I think we all support each other um, as much as possible. And I mean, the, the big challenge with Canada, not just for coffee, but for many different industries, is our size. You know, we're the second largest country in the world, and yes, we are a little bit bigger than China. We're, I think, 9.9 million square kilometers, but
Wow.
we have a population of about 40 million people. So we have,
Less than the state of São Paulo, for example.
yeah, we have such a small amount of density for such a large mass of space. Uh, so in that thought, there's a couple of good, like, coffee meccas. Like, Toronto's got a great scene, Vancouver's got a great scene, Calgary's got a great scene. I'd argue the best scene. Montreal, Winnipeg, all the more urban cities have a great coffee scene. It's just density in terms of coffee is not necessarily our friend.
Why do you think Calgary has like more important players than the other cities in Canada?
So when you say more important players, are you referencing competition specifically?
Yeah, well, worldwide known, period.
Right. Yeah. So I think Calgary has a knack for competition, and it's not just in coffee. It's in many industries. For a long time, Calgary was kind of the economic hub of Canada. Always said to be like an entrepreneurial city. That sort of mentality, and I think with coffee, just competition has been bred here in Calgary
Oh,
the
really?
past 8 years. The national barista champion has been based in Calgary.
Cool.
The past couple of years, the Brewers Cup champion. It actually in our province in Alberta, if you bracket that into there and take Edmonton into the equation, it's longer numbers for all of those things, for Brewers Cup, for barista, for the scene. It expands quite nicely when you include
Wow.
Edmonton.
You know that. You've been traveling a lot lately, right?
I was.
Yeah, well, not anymore,
We
but
all were.
the past,
Yeah.
let's say 18 months, you've been traveling quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there was any country that like impresses you positively that you were not expecting to have such a great coffee scene? Any country?
Specifically coffee scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds cliche because you're from Brazil, but I really like Sao Paulo's coffee scene.
Pretty cool.
Uh, I think it's quite fun. It's quite dynamic. There's a lot of really cool people that are at the head of the movement and what's happening. Fun and interesting shop concepts.
Different ones, right?
Yeah, definitely some different approaches. I think where really caught me off guard. Like, I mean, we were in Berlin together, and I was expecting Berlin to have a really good coffee scene. I don't know if any truly caught me off guard. I really
What,
love
what,
Sao Paulo and Bogota.
what about
Those
the
two,
other way around? Place that you have like high expectation and actually it wasn't, it's not that it wasn't that good, but it wasn't so many, or you expect more. There's any
um,
I can tell by like my experience. Like I remember
I mean,
in
on maybe a
2000,
general sense.
no, like in 2010, I was in Denmark, and before going to Denmark, I was like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be the best coffee center I've ever been in my life." And there was only two good coffee shops in Copenhagen, so it was
Okay.
really disappointing to me that point because I was expecting like I'm gonna be overdose with great coffees here, and that wasn't the case.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think for me, maybe Milan is a
Yeah,
fair city to slot in there. Not because I necessarily had the expectation there was going to be a whole bunch of great coffee, but
but
every
more
single
like,
person I told that I was going to Milan is like, "Ooh, and you're a coffee guy. You're gonna love the coffee." And I don't know. I think we went to maybe two or three, yeah,
yeah,
two good shops.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of coffee is built on hype,
sure.
and I think that hype can be so easily deflated with a simple miss in service, be it the customer service is not very good, or the actual quality delivered is not quite where it should be. Like, I think it's quite easy to miss, which is a shame. But yeah, don't believe the hype, people. Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. Um, Now, one question that I got all the time, and I got like at least 200,000 emails
My
asking.
hair is naturally red, Danilo. It's
No, no,
naturally red.
it's
Okay.
not that one. I was not gonna ask if the carpet matched the drapes. That's not the question. The question is, why does coffee people drink too much alcohol? Take you as an example. You just fell off right in the time to answer the question.
Yeah, that was weird.
So why? Why do you think coffee people drink too much alcohol?
I didn't actually know that was a thing. Um,
Oh no,
I
you
would
never,
imagine
did you have you ever been to a barista party?
I've been to one or two. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I've had a few drinks at one or two.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that was a fact though. I just thought it was kind of like a an assumption based on
No, trust
that
me. One of
particular instance.
the heaviest drinkers I ever been around, it's coffee people. And I've
Hmm.
been, and I work in the bar industry.
Okay. Maybe maybe it has something to do with the fact that, you know, I've got a whole decanter here of drip coffee and I'm probably gonna have one more before I leave. And the average, you know, the average muggle will only have probably one or two little cups like this, and then they'll make some comment that's like, I've had enough caffeine for the day. And you know, I'm fine crushing all of this, and maybe that's the same sense I have when you put a bottle of wine or
One?
2 sticks of cachaça in front of
Yeah,
me.
well, I think that there's something to do with the metabolism, right? Like since we're speeding our metabolism with so much caffeine, when we try to metabolize alcohol, it's easier. Our liver is just like, that's fine.
Yeah, maybe. And then we wake up in the morning thinking, what the fuck did we do last night?
True that. What is worse? You've been a competitor, right? But
Yeah.
you've also been a coach.
Hmm.
Which one is worse? Competing or coaching?
I think coaching.
Why?
Like they both have their sense of um fulfillment that comes through them. But I think with coaching, the second that person is up there, that's it.
That's
You
it.
know, you literally have no control. Where in competing, if I make a mistake, I'm owning that mistake and dealing with it right away, and that's 100% on me. If you know the person I'm coaching makes a mistake, as the coach, I'm owning that mistake, but I have zero say in how they're going to deal with it, and literally to the point that if I say something, they're going to get disqualified. So I have zero say in how they're going to deal with it. So I haven't had a lot of experience in coaching. I would like to do that more. I've been thinking about.
It's fun. Like all the gray hair you've seen, it's from coaching.
Yeah, okay. Just
Yeah.
start dyeing it,
This
Danilo. It's
size
fine.
is Martha. This size is Ronald.
Makes sense. Makes sense. The little bit on the chin, is that mine?
That's you. That's you.
Okay, good.
So, not like not a lot of people have been to the world stage or even the local stage or competed, for the matter of fact. But I've saw some weird rituals happening backstage. Like, can you tell a little bit about what have you seen and if you do something particularly weird?
Yeah, I've got a feeling you're trying to pull something out here.
Me? No.
um, yeah, I mean, I've seen some weird rituals backstage for sure. Agnieszka Rojuska in 2018 in Amsterdam. Her table was kind of right behind mine, and I turned around at one point, and there was nobody at her team table other than her, and she's sitting there. And I thought she was writing her cue cards or something, and I don't know, maybe it was semifinals day, and that's why there was less people there. But I walked over. We'd competed against each other in Coffee Masters prior to that, and then the 2 rounds that we were into of barista comp. So I thought it was a good time to maybe just go over and say hi and be a friend and whatnot. And then I realized she was coloring. She had like an 8-year-old's coloring book, and I just kind of started laughing. I was like, "What are you doing?" But like, and I'm sitting there talking to her and just thinking, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Yeah, my coaches and helpers gave me this. They told me like, shut up, don't talk to anybody, don't do anything, just sit here and focus on this drawing, get all the colors and the lines." It's like, okay.
Yeah.
The next day she won the whole damn thing, and I was like, wow, I
Well,
should start coloring.
maybe I'm gonna buy me a coloring book.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a coloring book.
Uh,
So I mean that was her ritual. John Gordon the entire time in Amsterdam, I think, sat in a chair,
you say,
like didn't. Yeah, I think he was a little bit sick, but I think he just sat there and like didn't really converse with anybody. I swear he was a statue the whole weekend, which was really intimidating. Like I didn't know him at all. I knew of him and I had watched him compete before, but to sit like watch there and just see him sit there the whole time, I was like, oh shit, this guy is intimidating for sure.
no, he's not. He's a teddy bear.
Yeah, no, he's the nicest guy. My ritual, I like to stretch and kind of get into my own zone. So I think I'm sure there's photos that exist from
There are
Danilo of me sitting in like the corner of a convention center with a bunch of chairs stacked around me or something goofy that have just been sitting there for days, and then my legs are like sprawled up the wall or something like that, and yeah, that's my ritual. I like
yeah,
to.
I saw people doing crazy stuff like yoga, for example.
Mhm.
Um, Raul will put like his headphones with like heavy metal, like very intense heavy metal, and he will
Okay.
be like the coolest face, and in the headphones like, and he was like peaceful, like, oh, he's probably meditating or something. No, he wasn't. And I saw a few guys like shadow boxing, uh,
Mm.
people
Okay.
jumping, a lot of jumps. I don't know why the jumps, but a lot of people
I,
jumping.
I think for me it's anything to really get the blood flowing. Like
Hmm.
I think um especially in those convention centers, they're generally a little bit cold.
Yeah,
And we often have to get there really early in the morning. Like I think in finals last year we got there at what, like 6:30 in the morning or
yeah,
something goofy.
yeah.
And then we're not actually competing until like 1 p.m. And you get cold and a little stagnant, and like you're on your feet on the terrible concrete floors. And like I know for me that I have really fair skin. The tips of my fingers get cold because like I gotta move. I gotta keep the blood flowing. So that's in my head. That's why I do the stretching and whatnot beforehand. I'll listen to my playlist too. I won't listen to hard metal, but I'll listen to my playlist, and I'll try to like mouth along with my speech as the playlist is going, and I'll get my mind into speaking in that rhythm, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. No, the what is worse? Like I remember when I went parachuting, and I didn't like I was not scared the whole way up and the whole way down. The split second that I got scared was when the guy let it go. He was
Mm.
about to let it go. When this happened in the competition for you, like normally it's like when you walk in the trolley, or it's when you're already there, or when you call time, or before you call time.
I think it's right at the end of the day during the announcements. You're waiting in that
Oh,
line, and they've got you in that line for an hour longer than you need to be in that line because they're trying to be as organized as possible, and like you're trying to shoot the shit with the people that are next to you in the line, and meanwhile in your head you're like, okay, all those things I did wrong, they're either going to get unveiled right here or they're not. And like so for me, I think it's always during announcements because you place, at least I do, I place myself somewhere in the pack, and I come up with the expectation that I should be this ranking, or or up here. And then like at Worlds, I have a vivid memory of getting called, and in my head, my head and my body reacted differently. My body does one of these, like, yes, I've done it. And my head's like, no, no, I'm not ready to get called yet. So I think it's like,
no, no, two
that's
more, just two more.
no, no,
No,
no.
no.
So I think it's in that moment that you're standing there, everybody's looking at the 16 or 6 people that are left standing there, and we're all waiting to hear a name get called out. I think that's the most.
I was in Amsterdam though when they called uh, in the two, like from semifinals to finals, when they called your name because there was another call in the semifinals.
Mm,
Did you have
yeah,
like
that's.
hesitation? I know because they say Canadian before, right? The
I
champion.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, I think in Amsterdam I was the second one called into the semis,
Okay.
and I didn't really. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really have the expectations of getting called into the semis because I knew they had the live score, and I knew my ranking was toward the bottom of the pack for qualifying.
Uh-huh.
And I knew there were a lot of like really strong competitors following me. So I thought I was actually going to get out on the bubble to maybe 17th or 18th or something. Um, so when I got called second, amazing. I have no idea who was called after me. I have no idea what happened after me. All I remember is Michalis Skachiavos was called first. I hugged him. We had a really nice hug. There's a photo of it. Uh, and then whatever happened after that happened. I'm not sure. In Boston, I made a few mistakes in the first round,
Yeah, I remember.
and you never vocalize them other than to maybe your close group of people. But I made a couple of like pretty substantial mistakes. I ground my milk beverage at my espresso setting, and then I also spilt part of my espressos. So between those two things, I thought, well, that could be enough to not get me through. And so when I was standing waiting for the announcements going into semis in Boston, and I was announced very last, I was completely shitting my pants, and then getting called into the finals. I was the very first to get called into the finals, so they gave me a little bit of
Both of
courtesy, let's say, on the second round.
yeah. Um, do you have like from the past 12 months, if you need to pick one outstanding coffee, which one would you pick that you drink?
One outstanding coffee, like the best coffee I've had in the past 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
Wow. Does it have to be in a certain setting, or like
No,
cafe setting, or just
no.
generally best coffee I've had in the past 12 months? Hmm. I've tasted a lot of really good coffee. Puts a smile on my face to even get to say that. I got to taste Jansen Farms from Panama. Do you know Jansen Family Farms? So he was in the Best of Panama. And it just so happened that he was in Brazil at the same time that I was in Brazil, and we were visiting Carmo de Minas, and he had brought a bunch of samples from his auction lots that had sold at Best of Panama. And so just coincidentally, I got to taste all of his coffees, and he had this a Pacamara that I believe is the most expensive Pacamara that's ever sold. I think it was 250 or 275 US a pound, something like that. Sold in the Best of Panama auction. Yeah, it was a pretty wacky coffee.
Yeah, I tried this Pacamara before in Panama, in competition setting, in a coffee shop setting. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, yeah. There's some super cool coffees coming out of Panama, of course. I got to try some of the Alita, like ASD coffees before the Best of Panama auction. Super cool. Some Finca Deborah. Jamison's got some crazy processing techniques that he's doing, and some wild coffees. Yeah, I don't know. There's some pretty
good to know. Like I
pretty
would
super
like to
coffees
ask,
going.
people have different experience, try different coffees, travel. The competition setting brings you a lot of different exposures as well. So yeah, always good to know.
Yeah.
So are you ready for the game?
Let me put on a headphone with more battery pack in it.
Okay. So, are you ready?
Sure, I'm ready for the game.
Yay! Now, rules are simple. Very, very simple rules. I'm gonna give you two options. And you're gonna have to choose one. But when you choose this option, the other one you cannot have anymore in your entire life. Okay?
What are you taking away from me, Danilo?
Well, for start, I'm gonna start really digging deep, and I'm gonna ask you to choose between maple syrup or coffee.
You're sick. Totally sick. I'll take coffee.
Okay, you're gonna choose coffee. Very well. The Toronto Raptors or the Canadian national hockey team?
Toronto Raptors.
Oh, really? Huh. Good to know.
That's easy.
You
That's
hearing
fine.
Canadians? Italian pasta or Brazilian meat? Tough spot, right?
I am gonna go with Italian pasta because I feel like there's a wider spectrum of availability there.
Yes.
Where meat will always be meat. Pasta, we can mix in other things, and I think it's a little bit more versatile.
I'm a Brazilian, I will do the same.
Okay.
We will be
Okay, good.
actually took a long time to answer that.
I thought maybe I was going to hurt your feelings or something.
No, not at all. Espresso or filter?
Filter.
Okay, not espresso guy. Now this is gonna hurt you.
Well, no, hang on. I am an espresso guy.
Hang on.
I do quite enjoy espresso.
You're never gonna be able to drink espresso ever again. That's the thing.
Right. I guess I've given up maple syrup, the Canadian hockey team, whatever. It's the Canadian hockey team. Brazilian meat and espresso. Okay.
Okay. What about this is going to be a tough one because I know you like both. Tea or wine?
I would stick with wine.
Yeah, of course, drunk. And then you don't know why people like, oh my God, the hypocrisy. Uh,
Uh,
your cell phone or your computer?
I would rather have my computer.
Oh, you throw away your cell phone.
I would throw away my cell phone if I could tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now,
My cell phone is my bane of my existence.
for the disgrace of you, because you're gonna have to choose between two national heroes, and the other one is gonna cease to exist.
Okay.
Jim Carrey or New Young?
I'm gonna keep Jim Carrey.
What? I forgot. You never heard New Young before. Like it's probably
No,
like
like I've heard Neil Young, just
they
Jim
used to sing,
Carrey's
they used to sing in the 80s, 90s when I was born.
but Jim Carrey's Jim Carrey. You
And New
scratched
Young.
my car. Wah!
Woo!
Right here.
Yeah, I definitely love the Living Color and like the karate teacher. I love that. For me, it's one of the best sketch ever made in television. Did you
Yeah,
ever
Jim
watch that?
Carrey is great. I don't
He's
know if he's
great.
done anything lately.
Yeah, he's going. Well, I'm doing a talk
What?
show. Who am I
Yeah, Jim. What are you doing these days, Jim?
to? So, last question for us let to go to work. It's why Canadians are so nice.
I
It's
think
all what? It's all about what?
I think we're just nice people.
Why?
I'm not sure there's a reason to it. I think it probably has to do with something we talked about earlier, where there's not a lot of density here, and it's really never cutthroat in terms of, I got to get to the front of this line, like I'm going to go in elbows up. I never need to do that. Where anytime I travel in Asia, it's like getting to the front of a line, if there's a line anywhere and everywhere. It's like it's a full contact sport, and people are just getting in front of you, and they're like,
Oh
"Yeah,
yeah.
thanks." Like, "Yeah, okay."
Next time
You
you're in
know,
Brazil, I'll take you to a ride on the subway during rush hour.
I imagine it's the same
You're gonna
thing,
think
right?
Asia is a piece of cake.
Yeah, like I was just in India, in Mumbai, maybe a month and a half ago now, and in Mumbai alone, there's like 4,000 people that die taking the train every year because the trains get so incredibly busy that people just get bumped off and then hit by the train coming the opposite direction.
Oh my God.
And I think like we've got a train here in downtown Calgary. I think one person, two people die a year because they have their headphones in when they cross the street and they just don't look. Like it's
Yeah.
very, very different cause as to how it's happening. But I think we must be nice because we have such little density, and like I'm looking out my window right now at nice, not greenery because there's snow on the ground still, but like nice flowing water, river paths. I got space, man. I can walk around and have my own space, and I don't need to see, Buddy letting his dog shit right there by my front doorstep, and I don't need to tell him like, "Hey, you got to pick that up." And it just, I think there's a lot more like general courtesy
It's
because
true.
of space.
Yeah, like a lot of people would think that cold countries normally have colder people in general, with
Mm.
personality a little bit more like distancing themselves.
Yeah, I think you're bracketing us all as Russians.
No, no, no,
I
Scandinavians.
am smiling.
They're really like up their own. But Canadians, they are the opposite. They are super warm and welcoming people and very noise people.
Your noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess your last trip before this whole thing was to Canada.
Yeah, it was my last trip before everything shut down was to Canada, and I had a great impression.
Hmm.
Uh, well, all the other Canadians that I met in this world events and around the world, but in Canada, like just someone that I never saw before, going to a restaurant or a coffee shop. Everyone was always super nice. So it's just reinforce everything like that. I like the stereotypes are real.
Yeah.
There's some it's like in the bottom of something. There's like reality, and I could actually see a couple of times like going to the trade like the expo center, opening the door, and someone the other side of the door, and it will be like, "Oh no, no, come on!" And I was like, "No, you, no, no, you, no, not you." It's like I used to tell this as a joke many times. That's the Canadian duo, but it
Yeah.
happened to me several times during this trip. Like two
Yeah.
people hitting the door at the same time.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No, yeah, exactly. Like I was having dinner with everyone and we were sharing stuff, and then I was just like, "Come on, guys, eat the last piece." And they're like, "No, Danilo, you know," like I'm gonna take advantage of your Canadian niceness, and I'm gonna eat the last bite of every dish.
So that's another thing. And like I think the duel that you just explained, I think that it exists to a certain extent. I think the over necessity to apologize.
Yes.
Like
Well, in
people
Toronto,
will
there's
say
a coffee
sorry
shop
for
that
fucking
is,
anything.
in Toronto, there's a coffee shop that is called Sorry. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, they're great. Um, but yeah, people will apologize for everything, and it's really frustrating because it makes it not feel genuine once you know that person, and it's just I don't love that one. But the stereotype of having a dinner with Canadians and literally like one bite is left on every single shared plate, and you're looking around and you're like, okay, as a Canadian, I'm looking around like, okay, there's one bite left there. I can't have that. There's one bite left there. I can't have that either. There's maybe two bites over there. I'll have one of those. And there's some weird thing where it's like, yeah, I can't finish any plate.
I totally played the jerk, and I was like, oh, "Okay, so nobody's gonna eat it. I will."
Yeah. Yeah, there's one person at the table who usually claims the last 10% of everything.
Yeah, like I didn't even need to choose anything. I was just like, you know what? It's gonna be one bite left of everything, and I'm gonna have it all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously,
Very
that's
simple,
how
nice,
it
and
ends up
take
going
it.
down. Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
I
Canadian
hope you
dinner.
enjoy. I hope you can come up in the next edition sometimes soon, maybe in person
Okay.
one. Who knows? Um, my Canadian part say, "I'm sorry for anything. If I did anything wrong, I'm sorry." And it was really a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Stay safe. And as soon as this hit the internet, please remember to share and show your loved ones that you're still as pale as the beach sand and red as the highest volcanoes.
Yeah, I really shouldn't have chose this particular window to sit. It's like the sun is reflecting directly off snow out the window and right onto my face, and I am so
Way
white.
wider than you.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so sorry. See you next time.
And sorry, we're out of here, folks.
Sorry. Yes, yes. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy my talk with Cole, very good friend of mine. He's a big crush for all the women that I met. They always ask me, "Oh, do you know him? He's your friend. Give me his number." I'm talking about you, Swellen, a friend of mine. And well, since I cannot play a song for him, I'm gonna have to sing. So for all the crushes that has cold in their hearts, for all the women that wants to be with him, and all the men who wants to be him, please join me and boombox the shit out of Ryan Reynolds style. I never wanna dance again. Guilty feet that got no rhythm. So it's easy to pretend. I know you're not in the mood.